Hey, are you guys talking? Oh, I can't hear anything. Oh, maybe I need to turn up my volume. Nope, I'm 100%. And they're talking.
Nope, we couldn't hear you, Bill.
Okay, so Tevin, you can hear me, but you can't hear Bill.
Yes.
Okay, let's send him a chat.
How about now?
Yeah, we got you.
Yes. You were talking on mute all this time?
No, for some reason my headphone things weren't working, I guess. Okay, I want to do a little housekeeping while I got a small group. So first of all, I want to make sure everyone is a part of all of the offerings. So let's start with WhatsApp. Is everyone in both WhatsApp groups?
Yes. Oh, I am.
Yeah, I am too.
Julian?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Facebook, is everyone on the Facebook group?
Yes.
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 Okay, YouTube, is everyone on the YouTube page?
Yes.
I'm not on the YouTube page. I guess I have to sign up.
So all you have to do is click that link that I have sent you in the.
It was an email, yeah.
Yeah, I can send it out.
Yes, this is Chris Harris. I was wondering if this is Mother.
All right, hang on one moment.
I
I'll send it out right now to everybody.
only back is
I'd like for everyone to subscribe because every day we're uploading the stuff, and I can look at to see who is watching, not who is watching, but how many times it's being watched. And I would like to just make a request that we're recording these videos so that they can be watched, and so that they can be so that we can kind of save that emergency issue of I don't know how to do a CMA. Okay, well, did you look to see how to do a CMA from the YouTube channel? Did you ask anyone about a CMA on the chats? You see what I'm saying? So I want to make sure that you guys are. I'm teaching you how to be resourceful. Okay.
So actually, I have since we don't have a lot, I had a question about something we went over this morning about the buyer's exclusive agreement.
Okay, go ahead.
So if I am going to so should I create a loop and then put that in there if I have a prospective buyer that I haven't met with yet, and then
and go ahead and fill it out.
Fill it out, and then assuming that we will, I have people that potentially are going to be coming down from New Jersey.
Yeah.
I don't have a schedule yet on when they're coming. So should I create it? And
yeah, I mean, there would be no harm in that. You at the very least, you would have, you could read through it. You could write the numbers down that you would expect to write the numbers that you would expect to write. And it's just one less thing you got to do later on. I don't see any problem with that at all.
And then if I do that, and when I do meet them, do I just print that out and put it in front of them and then go over it, or do I just
I would say here, this is a same script that I told you before, and same script that I told you before, and just say I'm going to send it to you electronically. So you want to get them in the habit of signing things electronically, right?
Okay, perfect.
Yep, and let them read it and see if they have any questions, and give them the couple minutes of what do you call it? Overview. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. Do we have any new people in the group? A couple people being admitted. All right. Welcome, everybody. All right. I just sent off another link. It's all the same links as before to make sure that everyone is subscribed to the YouTube channel, that is active in both WhatsApp groups. Okay. Has access to the Google Drive, okay, and is on Facebook, and also that you have a ramp up login, and you're beginning to work through the ramp up process. If you do not have a ramp up book, You can see me. They are at the office. They're actually en route. We had to order some more, but they are en route, and they are a one-time fee of $50. We charge your office bill, and then at your next closing, we give you the $50 back. Okay, so we make you have a little bit of skin in the game so that you take it seriously, and then we rebate it back once you successfully have your first closing, no matter how big or small it is. Okay. What my intention is for the long term is to have a weekly meeting just like this, where it brings people together, all of our people together, no matter what your experience level is, no matter what your, no matter what, basically. And the goal here is just to do some housekeeping. We might use this as an opportunity to do some reporting, to do some celebrating, and to kind of have a catch-all for common problems that we've been experiencing, and just be a resource for everyone together. So we do have a couple of new faces on the board, so I want to just highlight a couple of things. Just before this meeting started, I dragged a few new things into the Just PC Google Drive, one of which was one more script book by a gentleman named Jonathan Dupree. He is the regional director for the Southwest region of Keller Williams, and he put it together a little thing that says scripts and tips to grow your real estate business. It's a pretty cool little script book, so you're more than welcome to peruse through that. This should give you some ideas on talking to a number of people that you guys are courting right now. And I uploaded a big file called MREA2 Models and Systems. So we're going to have a scripts class, or we're going to have a models class a little bit later, and I just wanted you to have some of the visuals, because we're going to walk through what the models represent, why they are the way they are, how they all work together, all that kind of thing. And there are a lot of pretty cool images in this little pack, as well as all the organizational charts as you're growing your business, the lead generation strategies, some of the ways to put order to your business. So please take a peek at that as well. From just the impression I'm getting from you guys' activity, it seems like we are pretty active. I want to share just a quick request with you. We took a kind of an informal poll this morning about people that how they would feel about reporting their numbers publicly. One of the things that we used to do as a leadership team from a Southeast region perspective is at the end of the month, we were expected to do 40 appointments, 10 hires, and net 5 in terms of growth. And we were pushed to bring on experienced agents as well. So every month we had to publicly state in front of the regional director, the team leader of the team leaders, and all the other 62 team leaders what our numbers were. And so no one wants to put up numbers that are below what the expectation is and what the standard is. So I'm toying with the idea of requesting you guys to report publicly once a month. However, in the meantime, I am held accountable more often than once a month, and I need to have your numbers. So when I sent out a link on Monday, I believe, which was a completely new link for, it comes to you in a Google form. And the Google form asks a bunch of questions. It takes about 1 minute flat to answer all of the questions. And then it populates into a document, a Google Doc that I have access to that basically reports everyone's numbers. So my request is from the day you join the program through Monday, if you could fill out that document or that page and send that to me if you haven't already as soon as you possibly can. Okay. And then we will send out that link once a week for you to update your numbers. Remember, you should be tracking your numbers every single day. So adding up these numbers shouldn't be a big deal at all. That is essentially proof you're in business, right? If you walked into any small business, any of them, okay, you walked into any restaurant, you walked into any coffee shop, you walked into any department store, any of that. If you say, hey, what are your accounts receivable? What are your accounts payable? What are your credit card receipts today? right? Show me your invoicing system. Like they've got a system of tracking numbers that ultimately shows the health of that business, right? If you're a bagel store, you know how much flour you got to order every day, or you're not going to have enough flour, or you're going to have too much flour, right? So this is the sign of the health of your business. If you're not tracking it, you're not running a business. And a couple of you guys, I don't think have heard me say this, but here's the real reality of just so you may not want to do something, but you should anyway. So there, reporting. There you go. If you treat this like a hobby, it will pay you like a hobby. Okay. If you treat this like a hobby, it will pay you like a hobby. If you treat this like a business, you'll be absolutely amazed at the results that you can obtain. Okay. So with that in mind, I'm going to request that you all treat it like a business so that we can all celebrate your results together. And when we are doing that, that is going to be reporting. So I'm just going to review the reporting numbers with you really fast. Okay. Lead generation hours. Okay. KWRI is suggesting that you lead generate 4 hours a day right now. 4 hours. So we're going to come back to that in just a moment. But I want to go through some strategies. This is kind of a summary of all the week's calls that I've been on and coaching stuff that I've been through, and some of the meetings that I've had with you, and some of the little sprinklings of stuff that I've sent to you guys throughout the week. So I'm going to summarize a little bit here, but most of it you need to hear again anyway. Okay. Lead generation hours. Hours that you're practicing. Okay. Hours that you're in command and learning more about command. If this is accurate, Marie and Tim spent 28 hours in command. Now, I'm assuming most of that was putting those 833 contacts in, and if that's true, I am incredibly proud of you. Do you want to talk about that for a moment, Marie? Marie? Hello? I see a candle, I think. Okay, we'll come back to that.
Sorry, I just had to figure out how to unmute myself.
Marie, you've had a hell of a week on command. Why don't you tell us about that?
I had some help with uploading all of the loops from Dotloop, and discovered literally dozens of people that I had forgotten about. So yeah, the majority of that has been going back through those and putting people into command and setting up smart plans and gathering that information, birthdays, house anniversaries, that sort of stuff.
Beautiful. Good job. Good job. Okay. We're going to track total contacts. To remind you, a total contact or a contact is a two-way discussion about real estate. If you send a text to somebody and they do not respond, or you call somebody and you leave a message, that is not a contact. Contact is a two-way exchange. Got to be a two-way exchange. Okay. Database additions. Guys, I'm pretty impressed with these numbers. 17, 24, 20, 30, 45. I mean, these are good. This is good stuff. Okay. Total appointments set. Heather, 8 appointments set and 7 gone on. Holy moly. Somebody is working. Okay. So now some of you guys haven't reported your numbers, so they might be really good. I just don't even know them. So we're tracking total appointments set, that is buyers and sellers together. Okay. Total appointments held, that is also buyers and sellers together. I also want to itemize the listings, listing appointments held. So I'm less concerned with how many you set. I just want to talk about how many listing appointments are you holding, okay? And how many listings are you taking? Contracts written, okay? Pendings, units sold. The GCI here is going to be earned. So only when the deal closes is when you put the GCI earned. So if you have a unit sell that week, that's when you put it there. If you have GCI earned that week, that's when you put it there, okay? That is the gross commission. That is not your share of it. That's the gross, total gross commission, okay? So if you guys remember, there is a model that Keller Williams uses does that mean practicing scripts? Yes, it could mean script practicing, or it could mean presentation practicing, or it could mean basically practicing anything. It's pretty much presentations and scripts. It's practicing the things that you need to do to people without the people being present. Okay.
One quick question, Bill. So if you were to get a referral, which category would that be under?
If you were to get a referral, I would say that is,
well, if you give a referral, so in my situation where I sent a referral to someone in New Jersey, would that be, and it's a listing, so would that be under listing, or would that be neither one?
I think that would probably be neither one.
Okay.
Ultimately, it would be a unit sold when it happens.
And then would you be able to add that to the your GCI though?
Yeah.
Okay. So it'd be kind of weird that you have no listing and then no buyers, and then you would have a GCI.
That is true, but that's the way I want to handle it at the moment. I might change my
Okay.
mind at some point, but
Okay, no problem.
for now, let's do it that way. Okay. So there's this idea that is, you guys have seen me talk about this. It's called the 4 conversations. Okay. The 4 conversations are listings taken. I'm sorry, listing appointments, not buyer appointments, listings, sellers. Okay. Seller appointments, sellers listings taken. Okay. Then there's something called the wall of value. That's all the things that you do uniquely to get that deal closed. The other side of that is closings, right? Units sold, which are buyers and sellers, and profit. Okay. So ultimately, once you start building your business, you're going to have a profit and loss statement, right? When you're building a business, when you're running a business and managing a business, you got to make sure that you're profitable, right? And you got to make sure that every single expense that you make is justified, particularly in this environment. Okay. So that is essentially the health of your business. When you go to the doctor and they take your pulse and they weigh you and they take your blood and they look at your cholesterol and all that stuff, they're basically they're saying it's like your summary page, if you will. It's like, give me the snapshot of your health, right? The 4 conversations is a snapshot of your business, right? Are you going on enough listing appointments to take enough listings? Are you sitting enough closing tables, and is your business profitable, right? So it's interesting. Gary Keller over the last year or so has really clamped down on who he invites to be on the stage with him at these conventions. Okay, he says you should be getting awards for profit, not for gross, because there's a lot of people out there that might sell 800 homes in a year, but they make 200 grand at the bottom line. Okay, that is not a very good business. It might be spitting out some profit, but it should be spitting out 30 to 40% profit margin based on the models and systems of KW. We'll get to that soon. That's the 30-30-40 discussion. Okay, but our profit, and for solo agents, that profit margin should be probably closer to like 60 or 70%. Okay, so every dollar that you're making, that you're bringing in, you should be taking 60 to 70 cents down to the bottom line. But if you don't know what a P&L looks like, or what to manage, or how to manage it, you're at a bit of a disadvantage, and we need to talk offline about that. So the things that are the most important for me to report back to my leadership team and to my coach are listings taken. Listing appointments, listings taken, units sold, and GCI. Okay, those are the 4 big rocks. So the time practicing and the time in command and all that, I just want to make sure you're active, that you're working. And that is certainly important, but I need to measure the results too. So if you spend 10 hours generating leads, supposedly, and you don't generate any leads, we need to examine what you did during that 10 hours, right? In my opinion, you didn't work. We need to see some results. Make sense? So I'm going to be encouraging, there's going to be an underlying theme of these calls, which is pushing you towards a listings-based business rather than a buyers-based business. I'm not telling you can't help buyers. You certainly will, and you certainly should. But the more leverage that you have, or the more listings that you do, the more leverage you will have. For example, if I have 5 listings and I go on vacation, is it possible that I could come back and all 5 homes are under contract? Is that possible? Can't hear anybody.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And how would that happen?
All the other agents sell your property, right?
Isn't that awesome? So I'm chilling on the beach and the other agents are setting up all the showings, right? They are touring around with the buyers. They're selecting your home because it's priced correctly, because it's in great shape, because it's marketed properly, because it's presentable, because you've set up the systems to make sure they can get in and out easily, that kind of stuff, right? If you've done everything right, that's exactly right, Anu. It's possible that you could leave town, come back, all those deals are under contract. Now, what if I had 5 buyers with active buyer brokerage agreements and they all want to see property all the time and I go out of town for a week? What happens? What happens?
Nothing.
Well, nothing happens
unless you,
that's free.
Yeah, unless you pay somebody to show them or.
Right. So if I go out of town, everything is stalled until I return, unless I am willing to compensate somebody to do the job that needs to get done while I'm away. Make sense? So
Right.
Tevin, if I say, hey, here's a guy and he needs to see these 3 homes, well, I got to pay Tevin now. And by the way, that's okay. That's part of life, right? You pay people to do things you don't know how to do, or you don't have the resources to do, or you don't have the time to do, right? I want to renovate my bathroom. Well, I don't know how to do that. I don't have the right tools. I don't know how to price anything. I don't know how to pick out anything with respect to design. That's not my one thing, and I'm not about to try. So I'm going to write a check to somebody who's going to do it. Does that make sense? That's leverage. That's the same concept as me leaving town and saying, Tevin, go open the door for these couple people. Make sense? Would you agree that you could probably handle more active listings and active buyers at once? Yes or no?
Yes.
Perfect. That's what I wanted you to say. So I want to make sure that you when you put down zeros on these reports, look, it is what it is. That is an opportunity for awareness, and that is an opportunity for you to learn how to improve the usage of your time. But I do want you to focus on finding sellers. Okay. That is going to dictate your success here. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions?
I do have a question, Bill.
Yeah.
So I'm a little wary about, going out and saying, hey, good time to sell, when I should be a little more sensitive as to what's happening. So how do I overcome my own hesitation, I guess?
So 2 thoughts immediately pop into my head. Number 1 is don't lead with the sale. Lead with your heart, right? How are you? Is everyone okay? Is there anything I can do for you guys right now?
Oh, okay.
Right. And when you ask them a bunch of questions about what's going on in their life, what are they ultimately going to ask you?
How are things going with me?
That's right. And then when appropriate, if appropriate, you can let them know that there's still a lot of activity going on in the marketplace, and that should they or anyone they know have a question about real estate, you'd love an opportunity to help them.
Okay, that's a good, lead in, yeah.
So lead with your heart. And we also referred to we chatted about this briefly yesterday, which is this idea of if you kind of have to get over yourself a little bit, because it's not about you, it's about them.
Yeah.
Right? Do you believe that the average realtor in Atlanta is mediocre at best?
Of course.
Okay. Do you believe that there is a good chance, based on 2 major statistics? Number 1 is the average real estate agent in Atlanta sells 3 homes a year. So they, quite frankly, they're not making enough money to have that as their primary job. And so their time must be split with some other venture where they're making money. Is that fair to say?
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have the time. I know there's exceptions to that, of course. Part-time people, whatever. But for the most part, if somebody's making $10,000 to $15,000 a year, they've probably got to dedicate some time to making money elsewhere. Fair?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. So they don't have time to go scour the marketplace and study the comps and be up to date on all the technology and provide the best service to their people. Their time is split, right?
Yes.
Now, the stats say that 66% of buyers and 70% of sellers only interview one agent before they make their decision. So if you have a friend that has a question about real estate, the statistics favor that friend if they go and find the first real estate agent they could find, and 70% of the time they're going to give that person the business, there's a good likelihood, statistically speaking, that agent's going to be mediocre at best. Do you want that to happen to your friend?
No.
Okay, so it's not about you. It's about them. If they get a chance to work with you, they should consider themselves lucky, and you should be scouring the world for people that deserve that.
That's a good, yeah,
Right?
that's a good message. Mhm.
You're not, look, I've tried, okay? I can't sell a home to somebody who doesn't want to buy a home, okay? It's just not going to happen. If somebody does not want to buy a home, they're not going to buy it. And if somebody doesn't want to sell a home, they're not going to sell it. Okay, so I know we're salespeople, and we need to think of ourselves as salespeople, because when you think of yourself as a consultant, I know that's kind of a cute word, and we are consultants, right? We're educators. We're putting our arm around our people and walking them through the pros and cons and dealing with their sensitivities and all that. But at the end of the day, we have to have sales skills too, right? We need to know how to speak. We need to know what words to say, when to say them, at what pace to say them, when to talk, when not to talk. We need to lead people to where they want to be. But you're only going to know where they want to be if you ask the questions. And you're only going to ask the questions if you know what questions to ask.
Right.
So again, if you treat it like a hobby, it will pay you like a hobby. If every day you spend your time getting better at your craft, your family and your grandkids will be grateful. Okay. Now, I've had this conversation with a couple people over the last few days, is particularly those, and we've got a couple of experienced agents on the call, but this really applies to everyone. If you're a new agent and you don't have a ton of business right now, I think you need to be splitting your time into 2 sections. If you're an experienced agent, I think you need to be splitting your time into 3 sections, and they're basically the same. Okay, let's start with the new agents. However much time you got to give to business right now. I know a lot of us have kids at home and other commitments and all that. I get it. All the more reason you need to be stingy with your time. Okay. Half of the allotted time you should be spending in your database. Okay. Adding people to your database, editing data, or adding data, which is going to require some phone calls, right? Touching base with the people like, hey, how you doing? Is everything okay? Everyone healthy? Do you need anything? I'm here for you, right? Those kind of things. No salesy stuff. If they bring it up, you can bring it up, but just a total care call. No hidden motives there. Okay. Just check in, hey, just to make sure is this still your email address? You can do that kind of thing, but don't make it salesy. Okay. So update the data, check in. Okay. If it feels appropriate, you can offer the app, something like that. We're at a little bit of a sensitive time right now, but you need to be spending half of your time in your database. Okay. Adding data, editing data, and getting familiar with the systems. Okay. Because that's where the business is ultimately going to come from. You're not going to get an appointment if you don't have a relationship, or if you don't, at the very least, have a conversation. Julian, would you agree with that? You're on mute. You want me to unmute you? Julian, did you ever set any appointments without having a conversation? Never mind. I'm going to go with the answer of no. You got to have a conversation first. Okay. The other half of your day should be spent learning, flat out. You need to learn through Ignite. You need to learn through Ramp Up. You need to learn through these sessions. Okay. You need to learn through studying your scripts. building and studying your presentations, studying the marketplace. So today we had a little impromptu class that I'll upload a little bit later on CMAs, right? Go out and learn the market. Okay, we all work in the Roswell market. If anyone sees or knows that you work in Roswell and they start asking you questions about Roswell and you don't know the answer, it's going to be a little awkward. Okay, so you should use this time wisely, right? Say, hey, today I'm going to spend 1 hour learning about Roswell's real estate or more. Okay, so let's start. 200,000 and less. Is there anything I can buy within the city of Roswell for $200,000 or less? And if so, what does it look like? From 200 to 300, what does that look like? 300 to 400, what does that look like? What, how large are they? How updated are they? What part of Roswell are they in? How long is it taken for them to sell? And you just go price range by price range by price range, area by area by area, and you will know the answer, right? You will be familiar with the area and with the marketplace. Let's say Marie, let's use you as an example for a second. So you work in Roswell and Alpharetta and Milton and Johns Creek and all that. If I said, hey, we're in the middle, let's say I'm Marie's buyer. Hey, I'm a little hungry. Let's stop by the Avalon for lunch. And you're like, well, where's that? Or what's that? You can just go ahead and drop me off here. I'm going to go find.
Yeah, really.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely.
So like that one, in my opinion, that's like one strike and you're gone. Like I've used this example before. Like let's say you're showing me some condos in Buckhead or something, right? There's a lot of condo buildings in Buckhead. So I'm like, hey, what's that building? And you're like, I don't know. Like that's kind of embarrassing and awkward, but I might let that slide once. Okay. If you say I don't know to the second building, you can just drop me off. We're done. Right? You got to spend some time learning the marketplace. You will be asked these questions. See what I'm saying?
I feel it's going to take me months to learn before I even well, I'm a realtor.
You eat an elephant one bite at a time. Marie, how long you been in the business?
35 years.
Do you know everything?
Oh, absolutely not.
Have you had closings in the last 35 years?
Yes.
That's my point.
Right. What does Gary say? That persistence is the best alternative, a best solution for stupidity?
Yes.
If you don't ignorance, like if you don't know something, just keep doing it.
Well, if you don't know something, then just admit you don't know it and go look it up. But my point is that
you're never going to learn everything.
That's correct. But you need to have some basic skills, right? So, and I know you probably know more than you think you know. But my point is if you want to, let's say you're going to work with a bunch of people that tend to buy homes around, let's say $500,000 or $600,000. Okay, then sit in front of the computer and look at what those homes look like and where they're at, and how many beds and baths they have. Do they tend to be in cementinous communities? Are they in gated communities? Do they have basements? How big are the lots? How new are they? All those questions, right? You just need a familiarity with these things so you can have intelligent conversations around the real estate market. Okay?
Okay.
All right. I want to go over a couple of statistics with you really, really fast. So I haven't looked at this in 2 days, so I'm going a little unprepared here. But in the last 24 hours in Metro Atlanta.
Could you share your screen, Bill? Let's see what you're looking at.
Yeah. How'd you know I was looking at something?
I didn't know that, but I think you would just. I can see you. Darn it. All
right, here you go. All right, this is on the front page of FMLS.com, okay? In the last 24 hours, actually, let's start the other way. In the last 7 days, okay, how long have we been quarantined for? Like 4 days or something? So in the last 7 days, there's been 2,415 new listings in FMLS. And 2,351 people have gone under contract. And 1,922 people have closed. Are you trying to tell me there's not activity out there? Okay. In the last 3 days, there's been over 1,300 listings. 1,301 listings. Okay, 1,300 buyers and sellers have agreed to sell and buy a home. 1,300 pendings. And there's been 1,218 closings. Okay, 1,218 closings in the last 3 days. Are you trying to tell me no one's transacting business right now? In the last 24 hours, there's almost 500 listings, 469 listings. Okay, 343 people have gone under contract. You know, look at this. There's 47 people who they've increased the price. They've increased the price in the middle of a coronavirus scare. But the facts are right here.
Probably builders.
I don't care what it is. Facts are right here. You're right. It's probably builders. But when you say that to a client, they say, oh my gosh, that surprises me. Say, hey, kind of surprises me too. But here is the reality. The way you confront emotions is with statistics. Right? You got to bring them back to reality, because what they think is may or may not be based in reality, may or may not be based in statistics, right? There's been 355 closings in the last 24 hours. If I wasn't sitting here looking at it with you and you weren't looking at my screen at the same time, if I told you, hey, I'm going to ask you guys how many listings or how many closings have there been in the last 24 hours? I'm going to say a number and you say higher or lower. How many people would have thought it was lower than 355? Most of you?
I would have.
That's my point. Okay. So don't let anyone tell you the market's not moving. The market's doing just fine. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone's doing fine. Nobody bought my house yesterday. Okay. But there is activity. There is activity. And your clients might need to understand that. They say, oh my gosh, no one's looking at homes because of the coronavirus. No one's showing homes because of the coronavirus. Hey, would it surprise you to know that there was almost 500 new listings in Metro Atlanta yesterday and over 350 closings? Are you serious? Yeah. Well-priced, well-conditioned homes are selling. In fact, if you don't even want people to walk in the door, I can arrange for a virtual showing. You do want a realtor that's willing to adjust and be aggressive to get your home sold, right? Well, yes. Beautiful. Sign here. Would you prefer to sign in blue or would you prefer to sign in black? Okay. Make sense? Any questions? Okay. In the chat, I'm just doing a little coverall today. In the chat a few days ago, I wrote down a couple of contracts that are the most common contracts. Okay. Most common contracts are listing agreement. And you can go back and I'm going to say them kind of fast. Listing agreement, buyer brokerage agreement, seller's property disclosure statement, community association disclosure statement, FHA loan exhibit, conventional loan exhibit. Okay. Those are the most common, the most common contracts. We're going to be going through them one by one. We did the buyer's agency agreement today. And Monday, we're going to do the seller listing agreement. Tomorrow, we're going to review this book. The only book that you should be, basically, you should be walking around with this book everywhere you go. Everywhere. Okay? You got an extra 3 seconds before dinner's on the table, read something. Okay? We're going to read the very first tactic of shift by tomorrow's morning's session, and we're going to talk about shift tactic 1 tomorrow. Shift tactic 1 is get real, get right. Mindset and action. You got to make sure your mind's right, and you got to, everything you do should be around action. Okay. Now, I forgot to mention if the other thing. So for an experienced agent, you should be splitting your time into 3 sections: learning, being in your database. You can say hi.
Hi.
Okay, that's enough.
Hi, sweetie. How are you?
This is my daughter. Her name is Miriam Shana.
Hi, Miriam.
Okay.
You're
I'll
beautiful.
find you in a few minutes, okay? Okay, the experienced agents should be spending a portion of their time in their database, a portion of their time learning, right? And a portion of their time dealing with their active clients, obviously, and making sure they're calm. Charleston, everything okay? You doing okay? Do you have any questions? I know this is a strange time. Is everything okay? The real estate agent's job is to be the calming force in the transaction. Okay? Calming force in the transaction. Now, this book, just so you know, guys, I posted a link or a picture yesterday about all of the publicly traded real estate firms and what their stocks did yesterday, right? Down 20%, 40%. Realogy was down almost 40% at one time yesterday during the market. Okay, I think the lowest they got was $2.09 a share. That's like a market cap of like 300 million. That's ERA, Coldwell Banker, Century 21, Sotheby's, Better Homes and Gardens, all together. Gary Keller just spent $1 billion on a tech platform himself. When you lose hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in market cap overnight, are those people in a position to invest in technology? Are those people in position to care for their agents? No. Okay, the first person on that list is the shareholders. And what do the shareholders want? Returns. They don't give a damn about your quality of life. Okay, you guys don't know how lucky you are to be at Keller Williams. Okay, so does anyone know when this was published? This was published the day after, published, not started, published the day after Lehman Brothers collapsed in 2008. Okay, these guys are geniuses. This is Gary Keller. He's genius. Gary Keller says 2 + 2 is 5. I'll forever think it's 5. Okay. I'm glad I'm on his train. All right. Any thoughts, questions? How we doing? How we doing?
Yeah, Bill, I just have one question for you.
Doing good.
You were talking about, as a new agent, we talked about this yesterday, spend half of your day kind of a lead gen and updating your database, and then the other half learning, right? And then in your lead gen, you kind of just want to touch base during this time, like, how are you doing? How are things going, right?
Well, that's with your sphere of influence. That wouldn't prevent you from, cold calling FSBOs or circle prospecting or expired or something like that. You want to know who's really freaking out right now? It's the FSBO.
Okay.
The FSBO was lost prior to coronavirus. They are totally lost now.
Okay, because I was just wondering about how to transition. Like, when do we stop calling with the kind of how are you doing stuff into, getting an appointment with these people? Because, do we wait till this whole event has kind of passed over?
No, I think it'll feel natural to you. I mean, if you're having just a kind of a friend kind of casual based conversation, if they say, hey, we're thinking about selling our house in the next 2 months, say, great, let's meet. There's an appointment right there. Boom. But if they don't talk about business, I probably wouldn't be overly aggressive about an appointment. There's no point for an appointment. So you want to spend a little of your time talking to people and seeing if there's any business to be had. But you also want to be spending your time finding some new people.
Right.
And then asking what they need.
Right. Well, the funny thing about it is a lot of people in my database, they don't even know that I'm in real estate. So that's kind of where I had to start from, because I was kind of operating as a secret agent. Like, there's a handful of them that know, and then the majority of people in my database that know me from either volunteering or doing other things, they don't even know that I'm doing this. So I was sending out cards this week and then reaching out to people, talking to them, seeing how they're doing, that sort of thing.
Well, the thing is you shouldn't waste any time, because if you have a casual relationship with somebody and you don't check in with them or you don't let them know that you're in real estate, what happens if that person happens to live in the neighborhood that Julian's going to be calling today?
Right. That's what, yes.
Right. And I'll tell you, Julian's going to close them.
Right.
Hey, Bill, I've got a quick question.
Yeah.
Could you give me a little support on what to tell the FUSPOs that why they're freaking out right now? I mean, I'm assuming the virus, but what are your thoughts behind that?
Yeah, it's more uncertainty, right? When you don't have professional consultation and a partner in this process that does this day in and day out, you probably have a lot of questions. And by the way, you're probably erring to thinking about the negative, right? You're wondering if anyone can get a mortgage now. You're wondering if people are closing homes now. You're wondering if people should be coming into the house now. Like, there's just a lot more questions.
So they're receptive for guidance is really where your strong suit will be to get in with these people.
I mean, yes. I mean, at the end of the day, I'd focus on their goal. Their goal is to sell their home for the most money in the least amount of time with the least amount of stress. And right now, they're stressing. And the reason is because they think the world's falling apart and no one's there to put their arm around them and say, it's okay, stick with me, here are the stats, right? So you just need to you just need to love on them. Hey, I'm sure it's a stressful time for you right now. What is the one thing I can do right now to help you, right? Or and then if you get to the point, hey, what would have to happen for you to list your home with a professional or with me now, right? Would it surprise you to know that 355 families have bought a home in the last 24 hours? Really? Yes. That's right. The world is not collapsing right now.
Look at this.
Right?
You know how you...
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So again, I think especially now you want to lead with your heart.
This stuff I told you.
Not yet. Just one second, okay?
Makes sense. Yes.
Lead with your heart. Don't lead with your sales pitch. But as soon as they open the door for a sales pitch, you book that appointment faster than you've ever booked it.
Got it.
You know
right?
how to do
Because the
it.
most aggressive agent will win.
Got
Okay.
it. Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, they want an aggressive agent. They do not want to push over. They're not calling you because they want to know their friend. They're calling you because they believe that you're the best person to get the biggest, to sell their asset for the most money.
I'd heard Monday was a good day to call the FUSPOs because they had a disappointing weekend, but it sounds like that this situation now has opened up the whole week. They're going to be receptive to this type of approach.
Just do it. It's kind of like if, okay, so Monday is the popular day to call, so call Sunday.
Got it.
Monday is the popular day to call, so call Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Just call.
You got it.
Right?
So
How did they figure out that Monday was the most important day? Because they called all the days, and they probably had some results on all the days, right? Just call.
Right.
If you do enough research, you'll prove to yourself that it's probably not the right day or the right time or the right weather or whatever. Just call.
You don't have to like fighting because I know how.
Good job. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk for a second about money. Okay. We've got school districts across the country, guys, that are closing for the entire year. Okay. Kansas, I think the state of Kansas just closed their schools for the entire year. Okay. We got all the sports leagues that have not announced when they're going to start again. Okay. The world is, there's a lot of chaos going on, a lot of uncertainty. And I will tell you that money is not everything. And if you've known me for 5 minutes, Marie, we've known each other for a long time. You could probably attest to this. Having money isn't everything, but not having money is everything.
It's money's right up there with oxygen.
I agree. And do you know what money does? Is it buys you options and it buys you a little time. So I don't know what the financial situations of all of our people on the call is today. I'm going to speak to an array of people at all financial stability levels, if you will. You need to examine every dollar you're spending right now, in business and personally. Okay. On our coaching calls, they're saying take your bank statements out for the last 3 months and look at every dollar that you've spent and put it into one of 3 categories. I absolutely need this to survive. Number two, it's nice. I like to have it. Perhaps I don't need it, right? So would you agree that if you go from making $50,000 a year to $250,000 a year, your lifestyle changes a little bit? And you might have grown accustomed to living the life of somebody who makes $250,000, and I get it, right? But if you eat out every night and then you don't have a closing for a few months, it may not be as comfortable as it has in the past, okay? And the third section is cut it. This is a business investment that's not working. This is a business expense that's not returning the way it needs to return. It's over, okay? And in your personal life, hey, I got a gym membership. I hadn't been to the gym in 2 months. Cut it. You ain't going to the gym now anyway, okay? You need to get very, very, very aggressive with your money right now. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just having a real conversation with you, okay? The best way to deal with uncertainty is to have a little cash in the bank. Does anyone have any commentary on that? Are you saying something, Charleston? I can't hear you. Anyone want to say anything about that? Okay.
Hey, Bill, I've got a input. My wife is always wanting to, to spend more money or, get a house that with a higher mortgage. Don't worry about the cash. I'm thinking that's wrong. Cash is king, and that's not the way I roll. So, I mean, having a lot of money in the banks in the end of things is all important.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I mean, I think I mentioned to a lot of you guys, I track my net worth, like I think all of you should, right? Make a list of all the assets that you own, make a list of all the debts that you're responsible for. And every financial decision you make, you have to make in light of, is this helping me grow my net worth or not helping me grow my net worth? I'm a little cash poor right now, to be honest. I've got a lot of investments. I got a lot of stuff in various places, and my net worth is okay, but I'm a little cash poor right now. It's not a great time to be cash poor, right? So you always have to be looking at how is this impacting my ability to either seize an opportunity, create an opportunity, react to an opportunity, or react to a problem. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, this is not, I'm only a part-time semi-educated marriage counselor here and financial counselor here. But I would encourage, like, look, like the restaurants are closed, like the schools are closed. Like we can't deny that the world is a little different today, right? The stock market has had like 4 of the worst days in the history of the stock market in the last 2 weeks, right? Like things are changing. You've got, you got to be serious here. Okay. All right. Couple last minute housekeeping things. Who does not have an accountability partner?
I'm not, I have Heather with a ramp up, and I'm hoping if that's the same partner, or I don't know.
It could be tied to ramp up, exactly. But here's the purpose of an accountability partner. The accountability partner is somebody, in my opinion, that knows your goals, which presupposes, by the way, that you have to know your goals and be willing to share them, right? So if I have a goal to buy an investment property by the end of the year, let's just say that's my goal, right? I need to tell my accountability partner so he or she can remind me, hey, are you on task to save enough money to have the down payment to buy your home, buy this investment property? Or, hey, you said you wanted to buy in Southwest Atlanta near the Beltline. Okay, have you done any research around that area in the last week, right? Have you spoken to any investors or agents that work down there that might be able to help you identify the right property, right? Have you spoken to lenders that are going to give you access to money and learned what is going to be required or not required in order to make this thing happen, right? Prove to me that you actually care about this goal. If I were to follow you around for a week, would I have any idea that that's something that's important to you, right? So your accountability partner is somebody who is aware of your goals and holds you accountable. And I would have some very firm conversations with your accountability partner. So Marie, I'm going to pick on you for a second.
Oh, goody.
If let's just assume you've passed the sniff test on the accountability conversation with me, and we agreed to speak. I was going to send you by text all of my stats by the end of the day. Okay.
All right.
And we have agreed that if I don't do that, you're going to call me and say, Bill, you're a family cheater.
Right.
Okay. And then you do it for 2 days and everything's going great. And then you stop. What happens?
Then I'm not a good accountability partner anymore.
That's right. And you lost your job.
And I lost my job, and you need to get somebody, you have to find somebody else.
Exactly. Because I'm not a family cheater.
Right.
But I also know that I need help. Right. I need a coach. I need a peer partner. I need an accountability partner. So if you can't keep your bargain and your agreement and your commitment to me to hold me accountable, then you can't be my accountability partner. And if you agree to be somebody's accountability partner, you got to take it seriously, because there's a lot of people that depend on that person doing the things that they need accountability on. And if they think that stuff doesn't get done, then they put a bunch of zeros up on their reporting pages, and eventually they're going to run out of money. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And being an accountability partner is a very important job, and it's a very difficult job. I think it's harder to be somebody's accountability partner, to hear what they're reporting, than to have to report to someone else. If that makes any sense.
Do you think that Gary Keller is accountable?
Absolutely.
Do you think that Gary Keller's inner circle is accountable to Gary?
Absolutely, or they wouldn't be there.
That's right. Do you think if those people forget to report or don't check in when they're expected to check in and all that, do you think that they're going to stay in Gary Keller's inner circle?
Not a chance.
Not a freaking chance. Make sense?
Yep.
So the question then becomes is, how seriously do you take this gig, right? If you treat it like a hobby, it will pay you like a hobby. And if you treat it like a professional, you're all going to get sick of me talking about this.
Hey, Bill, I have a question.
Yeah.
So with all the schools shutting down, with all the gyms closed and all the stores, getting there, how do I justify asking for a listing appointment when we're supposed to be practicing social distancing? I'm just...
Well, you're going to practice having human coming from contribution conversations. And then if they bring up, I've got a listing to sell, then you say, great, I can help you with that. Do you have any concerns about listing the home now? Right? Ask them what they're afraid of. Right? You're not going to come out and call somebody and say, can I come over and list your home, if you haven't had a conversation about their desire or motivation to list a home.
Okay.
Right? You're just having conversations of contribution and curiosity. Hey, is everything going okay? Right?
Okay.
So their desire and their level of motivation is going to determine how quickly they're going to list or not list their home. Right? Okay. And that's our job. I uploaded a while back 2 pages that I think are really important. One is the buyer intake sheet and the seller intake sheet. And what it is it's at the top of both of those pages, it's the name, email, cell phone number, all that. But below, it's the pre-approval or pre-qualification questions, right? When I realize that I have transitioned from a care call or a ice cold call to somebody who actually may turn into a prospect, then I have a series of questions to ask them, which is going to determine whether this is somebody that I want to invest any time in, right? Why are you desiring to move? Well, this house is too big. Okay, so if you were to sell, where would you move? What type of property would you want, right? Or I'm moving because my wife is divorcing me and she doesn't want me to be here anymore. Wow, that sounds like it's a pretty big motivation, right? So, I'm moving because my kid is going to need to be in a different school and for 4th grade. Well, what grade is he in now? pre-K. Okay, well, that's not that motivating. Make sense? So you gotta ask those questions. So you have those questions right there in front of you, and don't skip any of them. Right? One of the questions for a listing is, have you ever thought to sell this home for sale by owner? And you might say, well, why the hell would you bring that up? Because you want to hear what their reaction to it is. Well, no, why would I do it myself? I'm too busy for that. I don't know how to be a realtor. Okay, good. I won't have to deal with any commission objections most likely then, right? But if they say, yeah, I sell all my homes myself. Okay, well, what's important to you about selling your home by yourself, right? And then you just go into those scripts. See what I'm saying? So you have those in front of you. So make sure you're practicing those. Make sure you're internalizing those. And when appropriate, if appropriate, you can transition very calmly and they won't even know it's happening into those questions. So tell me, if you were to move, where would you move? Well, I moved to Arizona because I have some grandkids out there and that's where I want to retire. Oh, wow, that's really great. How many grandkids do you have? We have 4 grandkids. Wow, how old are they? Right? What are their names? And then when you talk to them in 3 months and you rattle off their names, they're going to want to work with you because you've been listening. Does that make sense? Any comments, feedback, questions?
I think it makes good sense, Bill. I'm going to jump off. Andy's on with Joe at O'Kelly and Sorhan.
Yeah.
I want to take a listen to that.
All right,
Thanks.
guys.
I
Pay
thought this was
attention to.
fantastic.
Thank you, everybody. If you have any questions, shout them out in the help page. And please, please, please report your numbers. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Bye, everyone.